Hi, and welcome to this live reading of Ruby by Autumn Sand, and this is from the Red Riding Hood Anthology, and this is hosted by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1. In a hurry, I push my feet into my heels as I stumble around the bedroom trying to zip up the back of my dress. Gah! I yell out as my finger slips from the zipper pull once again. I feel a slight pull where my wound is healed, and my breast used to be, a constant reminder that I lost a part of myself. I blink away the hot tears and gather my thoughts, yanking myself from that moment when I heard the dreaded words, "I'm sorry," followed by the words, "You have breast cancer." Me being a writer, at first I laughed at how melodramatic the entire moment was when my longtime doctor and friend sat me down in her office to break the news to me. Her voice was so professional, gone was the once relaxed friendliness that we usually spoke to one another. Her green eyes showed signs of the agony of breaking the news to her friend, but her voice was one of a doctor, telling her patient that she'll have the fight of her life. But as I continuously laughed, those eyes showed concern. "Ruby, did you not hear me?" she asked. Realizing that I was laughing hysterically, I stopped and wiped the tears of laughter from my eyes. "Of course, I heard you, but I can't help it. Those words sound so clinical and don't suit my writer's brain. You really must come up with a better way for you to tell your patients that they have cancer." I placed my finger on my chin in deep thought. "Ah, yes, I got it." I smile at my now perplexed friend. I clear my throat and straighten in my seat, pretending to be hurt. "Ruby, what are your plans for the next year or so of your life?" "Ah, really? Well, you might want to cancel said plans. I hate to break it to you, kid, but the big C that you've been afraid of most of your life because it claimed the lives of your mother, your sister, and your aunt too, well, you've got it, kid." I slap my hands on my lap and look at her. "There. Isn't that better?" I say to her as the adrenaline I felt quickly dissolves into the realization of what I just said. "I have it. I have cancer. How am I expected to win this battle when it took so many people that I loved and cherished from me?" I exhale a breath that I was holding as I remembered that day from last year. My goodness, I still haven't zipped up this dress and I really must dash. "Alexa, what time is it?" I yell at the device that when initially bought I thought I would just listen to the weather or music with and now has somehow become so ingrained in my everyday life. "The time is 11 a.m. Would you like to hear the local weather?" Her melodic voice responds as I once again make another attempt at the zipper. "No!" I scream and remember my manners. "Thank you." I close my eyes as I remember that she is a machine and not a person. Damn it! Frustration builds inside of me as beads of sweat run down my forehead and onto my nose. Fucking menopause. I'm always 50 degrees hotter than the actual temperature. Great. I'm going to be late for a meeting with my editor at Vogue. I eye my closet and debating changing into something that I will be able to actually zip up. Before I can make it my decision, I feel cool hands touch my shoulder, and I yelp before relaxing, realizing it is my husband's hands. With deft precision, he zips me up from behind. I sigh in relief before anger hits me, realizing this is the first time he has touched me in a year. "There you go," Adam says as he gives my shoulder a quick squeeze before letting go. "You really should wear things that you can button from the front. You are still healing." "Ha," I say angrily. "Ruby, you really should at least listen to your doctor's recommendations. You have a long way to go before you have your next surgery." My next surgery he is referring to as my reconstruction surgery of my breasts. My doctors opted for me to finish chemo before the next step. I'm proud to say that I am 3 months past my final chemo treatment, and my reconstruction surgery can begin in another month or so. I've hated that word reconstruction. It makes me think of Frankenstein. I look over at my husband, who stands there with his hands shoved in his pockets, staring at me as if he cares about what happened to me. Where was he when I was diagnosed? Where was he when I lost my breasts and underwent extensive chemo treatments? Oh, that's right. He was busy fucking another woman. "Nice to see that you've found the bedroom," I say as I glare at him. He lowers his head, and for a moment he resembles the man that I fell in love with six years ago. The man that swept me off my feet and promised to love and cherish me for the rest of our lives in spite of our 20-year age difference. His parents rejected our relationship right from the start. They felt he should be with a woman his age, a young woman who could still give him children. But he swore his outright love for me, and I believed him, and so we married. It was a small ceremony with just a handful of friends and family, those who supported us. His parents were noticeably absent, but his siblings attended. Life seemed so less complicated at that time. But a breast cancer battle and a surprise runaway book success were more than our marriage could handle. His book soared to heights that no one predicted, and with that came book tours that took him away from me for long periods of time when I needed him the most. At the time, I was happy for him and lived vicariously through his success as I went through chemo treatments. It wasn't until one day when I was at home resting after one of my final rounds of chemo when I saw a picture of him taken at an event in Paris with his agent. The way he looked at her used to be the way he looked at me. I knew instantly that he was in love with her. For a few weeks, I gave up the will to live. What happened to my fairy tale romance? My Prince Charming was supposed to love me forever, so I thought. My best friend, who is also my editor, Tina, told me not to tell him about my suspicions, that perhaps it is just a fling. For me to cling on to the hope that he still loves me. But slowly I realized that it wasn't hope I was clinging to. It was desperation, and I wanted no part of it. So when he came back from a 3-month book tour, I spoke to him about it. I don't know what I expected. Denial, his proclamation of love for me and me alone. I'm not sure. But what I didn't expect to hear was that he was in love and that she is carrying his child. The child that I would never be able to give him. The child that before we married he said he would never want. I was gutted by this and began to hate this poor unborn child. That was my lowest point. So I kicked cancer on its ass and kicked him to the curb. We are in the process of a divorce. And now he steps into the bedroom that was once the symbol of our eternal union, and we couldn't be farther away from each other. His eyes are full of pain when he looks at me. His mouth opens but closes. Both of us are unsure what to say. Is there anything left? Love was destroyed the moment the child was conceived. Trust was broken the moment he slept with her. And vows were disregarded as his declaration of love for her. It is only this and nothing more. Ruby, I've already boxed up your things. I point to his closet. Just take it and leave. Hand in your key to the doorman downstairs. I can't stand here and listen to what he has to say. I'm too hurt and wounded. I've cried enough over him and us. I'm done now, and I have an appointment I need to get to. Quickly, I grab my purse and my jacket, and I leave before he is able to complete his sentence. I run towards an uncertain future without the person that I thought I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. I guess not all fairy tales are meant to come true. Chapter 2. Inside of Tina's office was what was supposed to be our meeting of my assignment turns into a bitch fest for us. Me bitching about how my life has turned out, and she, being the awesome friend that she is, listens. I mean, how dare he? Out of the blue, he just comes in and I search for the words, but I'm lost in a wilderness of confusion. I just can't help but wonder, did he fall in love with her because she is his age? Or was it because I had cancer and he couldn't stand to watch me die? Stop it. You didn't die, and you aren't going to die. He was just a rat bastard. That's all he was. Tina angrily pushes back. A part of me wants to defend him. He wasn't always this way. He was once a very caring man towards me. We loved each other so very deeply. The book that he wrote, love is about us, our eternal love and desire for each other. I was his muse when he wrote that book, and now I'm the discarded edits on the cutting room floor. Why does this have to hurt so bad? This hurts worse than my healing process from losing my breasts. The loss of my marriage has left a gaping wound in my life that I fear I will never heal from. Tina stands and walks over to me as I leaned my forehead against her picture window overlooking Manhattan. Wrapping her arms around me, she gives me a gentle hug from behind. I melt into her, unable to hold myself up anymore, the weight of my problems pushing me further into despair. It'll be okay, I promise. I've been down this road 5 times, she says as I turn to face my best friend of nearly 30 years. Tina has been married and divorced so many times that at one time we thought she might be in competition to beat Liz Taylor's record. At 50-something, she still has it and is still looking for that one true love. I laugh when I think back on all of the bridesmaid dresses that I have in my closet as a result of Tina's search for love. Her most recent parting of ways was with her now ex-husband, Bob. He was the most amicable of all of her divorces. They were and still remain great friends, often going to lunch or dinner together. You know, I really thought Bob would have been the one, I say, as I walk towards the front of her desk and take a seat. She laughs heartily. Her silver-dyed hair is cut in a bowl cut. Not a wrinkle or a line is on her porcelain skin that is due to copious amounts of surgery and the most expensive anti-wrinkle creams that money can buy. I thought so too, she says as she takes a seat at her glass desk. How's he doing? I ask. She tosses her bejeweled hand in the air like a duchess beckoning to be served. Oh, he and his 22-year-old bride are doing great. He bought her the most magnificent canary diamond from Sotheby's. It is supposed to be from Catherine the Great's collection, she says without an ounce of bitterness in her voice. Tina is genuinely happy for him and believes that she still gets the best part of him, his respect and friendship. Oh, that's why you went to Sotheby's the other week, I say as I inspect my nails. Somehow, while I was fighting with my zipper, my nail polish lost the battle. Oh, yes. You know the man could never make a decision without me, she giggles as she leans back in her chair and crosses her long legs that have been known to wrap themselves around some of the wealthiest men in the world, including her ex-billionaire husband we are currently talking about. But then a pang hits my heart. One day soon, I too will be divorced. This will be my first. I was always so busy with work that I forgot to get married. And then, when I thought I found the one, well, now we're headed for divorce court. Do you think... I try to find the words, or even if I want to say them. Tina looks at me with mild curiosity. Do you think Adam and I will ever get to the point of where you and Bob are? She leans on her desk as if to whisper a secret for my ears only. What? Do you mean friends? Choked with emotions and unable to speak, I nod. Oh, honey, that will come with time, acceptance that it is over and forgiveness. She stares at me with concern. Can I forgive Adam? Here I am, a 48-year-old woman who is going through menopause, gray hairs, and a diminishing sexual libido, who is being dumped by her 28-year-old husband who has found love with a woman his age, a woman who can give him children, a woman who won't show signs of age for another 15 years. I just don't see forgiveness in the cards right now. Cheer up, honey. It takes time, but you will get there, Tina reassures. A few seconds of silence pass between us until I shake the memories of the hopes of my future out of my head. Well, I certainly ruined this meeting. I wipe at the tears on my cheeks. Tina snatches a few tissues from her Tiffany Platinum tissue holder on her desk with her initials engraved on it, and passes me the ultra-soft tissue. I grab it and wipe my face and blow my nose before tossing it into the wastepaper basket beside her desk. Meeting not ruined at all, my love. She reaches for a file on her desk and hands it to me with a wide smile. Taking the folder, I open it and glance down at the top page. Count Edric Moreau of Paris, France. I look up from the folder, my eyes questioning. I think this is the perfect assignment for you, She taps her perfectly gel-manicured nails on the desk. His name sounds familiar. I search my memory of who he is. He is the one that romanced that certain princess in Italy, much to her husband's chagrin. He escaped from a 2-story balcony with just his socks and an awesome story to tell. Tina's eyes twinkle as she recounts what happened. Oh yes, I remembered. Bess did the cover story of the princess. I was still doing chemo at the time and was unable to make the trip to interview her. Tina nods with a wide smile. Mm-hmm, the one and only. So now you want to interview him for his side of the story? I look at his picture in the file. He is handsome. Dark black hair with just a touch of wave to it to make you think he was born with it. His eyes are a light hazel that it almost looks silver. His suit is obviously custom-made along with his shoes. His Breitling watch sits gracefully on the cuff of his sleeve alla Gianni Agnelli. He conveys what the Italians call sprezzatura, the art of making the difficult look easy. I see why and how the princess fell for him and ultimately into his bed if he looks half as delicious in person as he does in this picture. No, not at all. His affair with her is old news. What I want to know is about him, the man. His father recently passed away, and he is now the head of Moreau International since his brother was killed in a boating accident last year. She taps a jewel-encrusted pen thoughtfully on her chin as she speaks. So not a puff piece. You want me to dig deeper? I ask as I flip to the next page and scan it. Exactly. He is known as the Wolf of Europe. A rake, basically. He has seduced most millionaires' and billionaires' wives. He was never supposed to be head of Moreau International. His father trained his elder brother for that position. I want to know where he plans to take the company. Is he ready? What is his vision of the future? So, something like from cad to chairman. I giggle at my joke while Tina rolls her eyes. Well, let's not call him that to his face, she says and finally laughs. We set everything up with his people. You will shadow him for a week or two, whichever you think is best to get the story you need. No rush to come back. I read in between the lines also to get you out of New York while your divorce is finalized. I nod my understanding as I stand with my new assignment. I hug her quickly for not only giving me this assignment, but for knowing what I need at this horrible time in my life. I walk to the door, ready to leave, and begin my travel arrangements. Hun, Tina says as I turn around. Seriously, take as long as you need. Too emotional to speak, I nod and exit her office and into the unknown world of a divorcee.